All right, guys, I'm going to start this video by pissing some of you off. If you're not all right with that, you might want to stop now. But guys, most men don't lose themselves in relationships. They abandon themselves. There's a big difference, guys. There's a massive difference there, and one that you need to be able to recognize. Because when you say you lost yourself, it sounds sort of, accidental, like you lost your keys. And if I'm being honest and if I'm being frank with you, it sounds sort of feminine. It sounds sort of weak. Sort of as it somehow, as I just said, as it somehow just happened. Like you're just walking through the woods or you're walking through the park where you misplaced your keys and you lost them. Like you lost your identity, like you lost your keys. It's kind of ridiculous. No, homie, you didn't do that. What you did is you traded it piece by piece, weak decision by weak decision, compromise by compromise. Until one day, guys, you're standing in your kitchen, doing the dishes. You're 48 years old and you begin wondering, what the hell happened to me? What the hell happened to my marriage, my relationship? Not really what happened to the sex, not what happened to the spark, the fire, but what happened to you, brother? What happened to you? Because somewhere along the way, you became a supporting character in your own damn life. And nobody wants to really talk about this. This is something we sort of gloss over, guys, because it's easier to blame the relationship, to blame her, right? Blame her for all the problems. It's harder to admit that you willingly disappeared. Guys, I want to talk about the slowest, use the term self-deletion for YouTube, that a man can commit. Guys, I'm convinced that one of the most detrimental and probably most self-defeating things a man can do is slowly abandon the very things that made him who he is. It's not necessarily physically, guys, although this does happen far too often, and we see it with men, especially as they get over 30, get in these long-term relationships and marriages. But what I'm talking about, guys, it's rather more psychologically, spiritually, or existentially. I don't mean to get all woo-woo on you guys, but it's something far more than just the physical realm. Guys, the gym disappears. The adventure disappears. Your goals, well, they disappear. You start to sort of negotiate down your ambition. Guys, if you were, anything of me, I talk often about non-negotiables. Well, now you're wavering on these. You are negotiating. Your standards weaken and they crumble. That edge you had, that sharp edge you had, well, that gets sort of dulled and rounded off. And then every, sort of individual decision you start to make starts to feel insignificant, like it doesn't matter. It's just one missed workout, not a big deal, right? It's one canceled trip, one canceled, day with the boys. One hobby abandoned. You give up golf, give up the gym. Whatever the hobby is, guys, you give it up. You postpone those goals, those big goals you had, guys, and one dream delayed, put on the back shelf or the back burner. But here's the problem, guys. And make no mistake, let's be crystal fucking clear here. This is a problem. Life generally isn't destroyed by catastrophe or one major event. Yes, this can happen, guys, but I'm talking about averages here or heuristics. It's destroyed by accumulation, by the compounding I always speak about. In this case, the compounding is going to be negative. So, guys, 20 years later, you're staring at the accumulated consequences of 1,000 tiny surrenders, these like small concessions. And now you find yourself living this life that you never consciously chose. Key there word there, guys, is consciously. You're living in someone else's frame. Chances are it's her frame. And it's not your own. And that is the problem. Guys, a lot is made about love and how men want love. I don't know if that's always the case, guys. I think a lot of guys want relief. And here's something I've been thinking about lately, guys. You might even want to call it pondering, but a lot of thought into this. A lot of guys, as I said, aren't looking for love. Love is great, but that's not what a lot of guys are looking for. Right? And that's not what they're really seeking. What they're really seeking, guys, is relief. Relief from the loneliness, guys, that heavy, heavy loneliness. Relief from uncertainty. A lot of guys are seeking relief from responsibility. Guys, spoiler alert here, that never goes away as a man. You are always going to have responsibilities as a man. A lot of guys want a sort of a relief of profession or, pressure of becoming. Like, I've got here, I've made it. I don't want that pressure anymore. Again, guys, spoiler, that never goes away either. You have to continually become as a man. And then because of this, your relationship sort of becomes sort of an escape, I suppose. Let's call it that. It's not a complement to your life any longer. It's an escape from it. You stop building. You stop growing. You stop chasing sort of this self-mastery and pursuing, as Rich Cooper says, chasing or pursuing excellence. You stop taking risks, right? You stop evolving. You stop growing. Because now, well, what do you have, guys? You have a little bit of comfort. And as I always say, guys, comfort is a motherfucker. Because comfort lies to you, brother. Comfort lies to you all the time. The problem is, guys, that comfort solves today's discomfort while quietly creating tomorrow's regret. I'm going to say that one more time, guys, because it's critically important. Comfort is going to solve today's discomfort, that immediate discomfort, but it's going to create regret down the line. All right, guys, and time for that uncomfortable question. You knew it was coming, right? So let me ask you something. Let me ask you this. And I don't want you to answer quickly, guys. There's no rush. Take some time. Take the time to really think about this. Would the 20 or 25-year-old version of you be impressed with the man that you have become as you are today? With this younger version of you, would he be proud? Would he be ashamed? Be honest with yourself, guys. I need you to be brutally honest with this answer. I'm not talking about your income or the house you have or that fancy job title that you have on LinkedIn. I'm talking about you, okay? You. Your energy, the energy that you bring to life, that zest, your mindset, your courage, let's call it your balls, your willingness to take risks, your physical condition. Look at yourself, guys. Would your younger version of you be impressed with this? Would he be ashamed? Your standards, guys. I talk about standards constantly. And also your fucking fire and male drive to succeed and compete. Look, guys, a lot of men I meet have accumulated responsibility while simultaneously losing themselves in the process, right? And remember, responsibility devoid of authority is nothing more than slavery. And a lot of guys are going to mistake this responsibility for sort of growth or maturing. They're not the same thing, guys, not by a long shot, not even close. You can become more responsible while becoming less alive. And this is exactly what happens to most men, especially somewhere around middle age or so, say post 35, 40, or 45. Let's talk, guys, now about sort of this invisible contract. So, guys, here's a contract that many men sign without ever realizing it. And it goes something like this. Now, guys, I hope you understand it sort of. In some cases, it's an actual contract, but I'm talking more metaphorically here. And it goes something like this. I'll sacrifice myself to keep everything stable, to sort of keep the peace. If this sounds a whole lot like that happy wife, happy life bullshit, a lot of men say, you're probably right. You're following along. Appreciate it. And at first, guys, it may feel noble. You may even be that white knight, right? Responsible, almost mature. Almost, but not really, guys. And eventually, this is going to become destructive because every year you're giving away another piece of yourself and nobody notices. And frankly, even if they did, they don't give a shit. Why? Because they got their own problems, guys. It's not not your wife, not your kids, not your coworkers, not your friends. Because to them, from the outside, everything looks fine. And you probably put up a show that tells them that. And hell, as I said before, they have their own shit to deal with. They're not worried about yours. You're functioning, you're paying the bills, you're showing up. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, what you've been told to do. You're the dutiful donkey, guys, doing the heavy lifting, carrying the load. Meanwhile, internally, inside, you're disappearing if you haven't disappeared altogether. You're conceding who the fuck you actually are. And guys, that should be the scary part for you. Most men don't implode, they slowly fade. In general, the relationship is not the problem. And this is where it's going to get uncomfortable for many people. Because most guys, many people, they're always looking for somebody else to blame, somebody to point the finger at. People love playing this victim card, especially in today's society. And it's worse, at least in my mind, guys, it's worse when so-called men do this bullshit. They play this bullshit victim, woe is me mentality. They blame their wife, their marriage, their kids. That's terrible, guys. Society in this so-called matrix, it's become this sort of in vogue boogeyman. Modern dating, women, whatever else, guys. Anything other than taking a hard look at the man in the motherfucking mirror. But sometimes, guys, the relationship is not the problem. Sometimes the problem is that you stopped demanding more from yourself. You stopped holding yourself accountable. You stopped protecting your identity. You stopped upholding your standards and your non-negotiables, as I said earlier. You stopped pursuing growth. You stopped doing the difficult and challenging things that make you a man, that made you get where you are today. You stopped challenging yourself. What you did, guys, is you stopped becoming. And then one day, you looked around you and you hated the life that you helped create. That's a hard truth, brother. Trust me. But it's a truth nonetheless, okay? But it can also be very empowering. Because if you created this life, guys, you and you alone can change it. You can fix your shit. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Nope, it's not, do you love your wife? You probably do. No, the question is not, is your relationship quote unquote good? Might be, might not. Not even would you choose her again, as I talked about in the last video. But the real question is this, guys. Have you become someone that you would choose again? Flipping this around. Would you choose you? Okay? Because this is a question men will spend years, a lifetime avoiding. And deep down, most guys, they already know the answer. That's why they stay busy, why they stay distracted, do anything to avoid answering this question. This is why they're going to choose comfort, vice, and distraction. Because if they sit alone for a few minutes, 5 minutes, a voice, starts asking questions that they don't want to answer. Questions like this, guys. When did I stop chasing? When did I stop growing? When did I become this version of myself? When did I give up on myself? And maybe the most important question of all, guys, is this. At what point did you start sacrificing yourself to preserve a life that you're not sure you ever wanted? A life that you didn't want. That's the relationship audit beneath the relationship audit I talked about in the last video. And for a lot of men, that's where the real work begins. Guys, I appreciate you sticking with me. Another sort of hard-hitting look in the mirror video that I think a lot of men need. Do me a favor, guys. If you haven't subscribed, it's an easy tap. I got this stuff coming all the time. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Subscribe, like, and drop the comments. Guys, the comments are critical. They help me find out, where you guys are at. And if I can help, I'd love to do that. Guys, appreciate it yet again. And always, as always, live deliberately.